Hello EFD squad and welcome back to UCL Review. Absolutely hook me up to that Gazprom. The last two games have been absolutely immense and we're here to break them down for you and give you the stats that you may have missed. Now, just to explain the apparel situation, because it looks like I've arrived on set with my probation officer. We have an awards ceremony this morning. Doogie's chosen to wear his outfit all bloody day.
I'm going to do a 24-hour stint in this suit, but Football Daily for the win tonight, and hopefully you voted for us, so we shall find out tonight.
Right.
But yeah, incredible games to talk about today.
First game, Ajax versus Tottenham at the Amsterdam Arena. Break down the first part for me.
Yeah, well, it was just a remarkable game. Obviously, Spurs won 3-2 away from home to go through on away goals. Lucas Moura's 96th minute winner, sealing their place in their first ever European Cup final. The 26-year-old Brazilian's hat-trick ensured that the 2019 Champions League final will be the third all-English affair in European history after the 1972 UEFA Cup final between Spurs and Wolves, and obviously the 2008 Champions League final between Man United and Chelsea, which obviously went to penalties. Spurs didn't start well at all, went 2-0 down within 35 minutes through a De Ligt header and Ziyech scoring a second, leaving them trailing 3-0 on aggregate. But two more goals in 4 second-half minutes gave them hope before the dramatic winner. They become the 8th different English side to feature in a European Cup final after Arsenal, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United and Nottingham Forest. And I've left one there. Let me know in the comments below who the 8th one is. Caps a remarkable turnaround for Lucas. He only made 11 appearances last season after joining from PSG in January. But he now has 10 Premier League goals to his game this year in 31 appearances, as well as 5 Champions League goals in 11 games, only 8 starts as well.
It was the same for PSG. When he was given the minutes, he did produce, but it took him a little while to get going, and hopefully he can really kick on from here.
100%. Also scored some crucial goals this year. He scored against PSV away and Barca away, which obviously ensured that they managed to get through to the knockout stages in the first place. He is only the 5th player to score a Champions League semi-final hat-trick and the first since Cristiano Ronaldo in May 2017 for Real Madrid against Atleti. It was a massive mental hurdle for Spurs overturned. They had lost their previous 3 semi-finals, most recently that agonising penalty shootout defeat to Chelsea in this season's Carabao Cup. And it's all the more remarkable considering they only got 1 point from their first 3 group games. They required an 89th minute Harry Kane winner to beat PSV, an 80th minute Eriksen winner to beat Inter Milan, and then Lucas Moura an 85th minute equaliser, to draw with Barcelona. And they become only the 2nd team in Champions League history to lose the first leg of a semi-final at home and progress after their opponents last night. Ajax managed to do it in 1996 against Panathinaikos. No idea what Panathinaikos was doing in a Champions League semi-final in 1996, but we'll move on.
Shout out.
All the more remarkable considering they become the first team to come from 2 goals behind to win a Champions League semi-final since Man United against Juventus in 1996. And we all know what happened in that final. We couldn't believe it on the stream last night. I myself made a rather stupid bet, which I'll complete here, because Spurs came back from 2-0 down to win.
You are not getting away with that.
And Pochettino was quite rightly lauding his players for their superb performance.
It's difficult with words to describe my feelings and my emotion. I think it's one of the most important nights in my life. I said before, they are heroes. I think they are superheroes now.
Absolute heartbreak there for Ajax and Ten Hag. They played exceptionally well in the first 45, but the second half, completely different story. After Llorente came on for the injured Wanyama, Spurs all of a sudden had this focal point, didn't they, to create chances around, and XG actually had the second 45 as 0.9 to 2.6 in the Lily Whites' favour. So deserved victors by the end of the 90, and you wouldn't put money on that happening after the opening exchanges, would you? They actually finished the game with 60% possession, Spurs. Pretty remarkable when you consider Ajax's philosophy. 24 shots, the 16 and 7 on target to Ajax's 4. So just compounding the point made previously, really. There was a part of me that wanted Ajax to go through. They've been on a remarkable run, haven't they? Beating the likes of Real Madrid, Juventus, Spurs obviously away from home. And like the league said in the aftermath of it, painstakingly close to the final, 5 seconds away. But ultimately, their mixed form at home coming back to bite them in the arse. They've only won 2 of 6 Champions League games there at the Amsterdam Arena in 18-19. Despite it all starting so well for them, the league becoming just the 4th teenager to score in a Champions League semi-final after Nordin Wolter, shout out to that name, Befi Martins for Inter in 2003 and Mbappe for Monaco.
No surprise.
And they'll be licking their wounds after this game. An opportunity, the best opportunity they've had since 1996 to reach a Champions League final. And it could have been so different if Ziyech's effort hadn't hit the post. If it was that couple of inches inside the goal frame, would have been a different story, wouldn't it? Standout performances though, let's go through the Ajax team and give them the props they deserve. Mazraoui made 7 tackles and interceptions, 2 dribbles, had a shot to boot 2. Ziyech did everything in his powers to ensure passage to the final, but it didn't happen. 3 tackles and interceptions, 3 dribbles, 4 key passes, 7 shots with 2 coming on target, 1 goal, and like I said, he hit the post. Spurs' heroes, Llorente coming up clutch. What a massive
Big
45
Fernando.
minutes from him, and it makes, you know, all the times he's come on to all those moans and groans and he's been ineffective as a target man and everyone's kind of maligned the plan B that he's become. It makes it all finally worth it, doesn't it? So 13 aerial duels, 1 key pass and 6 shots, admittedly only 1 on target, but he made an absolute nuisance of himself, throwing Daley Blind around like a rag doll. Man of the match can only be one man who's, you know, unfortunately a Bolsonaro fan. 1 tackle, 4 aerial duels, 1 4 dribbles, 2 key passes, 5 shots and 3 goals for the Brazilian Lucas. What a performance from him. And having limped towards, you know, 4th spot or guaranteed 4th spot in the Premier League with just 3 wins in their last 11 games, Spurs now have a Champions League final to look forward to. Crazy. Liverpool and Spurs resurrecting their seasons at the death. But who do you think it's going to be, guys? Let us know in the comments below. Now on to Barca-Liverpool.
What a game
Another
that was.
breathless game. Actually, Danny Rose said Liverpool are the inspiration for the comeback. So let's see how that happened.
So before we move on to our next game, just a quick reminder, if you are joining us on Eurofootball Daily for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a video. Going on to the next game, what happened at Anfield, Christopher?
Well then, you know, witnessing history with Jermaine Pennant, man of the match from the 2007 Athens final.
What a time to be alive.
Of course, joined us on the Football Social. Iconic scenes. Here's the reaction from Divock Origi, the GOAT, his winning goal on the Football Social. But let's delve into the numbers because that's what you guys come here for. So Liverpool qualifying for their 9th European Cup / UCL final, becoming the first English side to reach back-to-back Champions League finals since Manchester United in 2008 and 2009. Scary consistency. And their 4-0 victory meant that Liverpool became just the 4th team in history to overturn a 3-goal or more deficit from the first leg of a UCL game. And this was all without Salah, Bobby Firmino, who had contributed to 11 goals in some way, shape or form in this Champions League campaign. Of course, not quite as prolific as last year, a bit more of a team effort. They've kind of had to grind out results a little bit more this year, haven't they? But 2 influential forwards, and Andy Robertson had to go off after that kind of nasty exchange with Luis Suarez, didn't he? So Jurgen Klopp deserves an awful lot of credit for being able to move his chess pieces around here to great effect. Now, you can't say they weren't deserving of their victory too, and the more substitutions that Valverde made, the more ragged that Barcelona became in this game. But they still did need some individual brilliance, and some players definitely came up clutch, didn't they, in the form of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Origi,
the GOAT.
What a guy, Divock and Wijnaldum, along with some extremely clinical finishing. XG actually had it at 2.2 to 1.2, which wouldn't have seen them through, but XG can get in the bin for this game because it was all about
the drama.
Oh, just football sometimes writes itself, doesn't it? It was just absolutely superb. I don't think I've seen a better end to a Champions League campaign in my 27 years on this earth.
Seconded.
They actually scored their first 4 goals from just 7 shots on target, Liverpool. Barcelona managing to produce 5 shots on target, but Alisson really coming up trumps as well. He deserves a lot of credit. The comparison to, Karius in the final to his standout performance in this game, absolutely chalk and cheese. And he's just a monster inside his own box. He saved 80% of the shots he faced in the box last year for Roma, bringing some of that sort of, it's just a brick wall, isn't it?
It's incredible.
From 12 yards out.
Great reflexes.
Bringing some of that confidence with him to Anfield. Now, talking of Trent Alexander-Arnold, what an assist. What a bit of thinking. And fair play to the ball boy as well.
Yeah, big up the ball boy.
Apparently the ball boy had been told by one of the match analysts that Barcelona dawdle for 5 to 10 seconds around set pieces.
Often
and he was
complaining.
straight on the scene, wasn't he? Yeah, often looking at the referee, trying to win decisions.
That was back to bite you in the
That
end.
was TAA's 14th assist of the season, the most of any Liverpool player, and his 7th in his last 8 games for the Reds.
Wow.
And his numbers on the night look a little bit like this. 100% aerial duel success rate, 11 ball recoveries, 66 passes, 4 interceptions, 4 tackles, and 1 assist. The boy who came through the youth system, putting his team firmly in the final. Now, his numbers across the whole Champions League campaign have been scary. So for Liverpool, the most crosses, the most assists, the most interceptions, the most passes into the box as well. Now, Liverpool's midfield, their average position this season has been behind the fullback. So he needs to thank his midfielders for putting in a lot of industry, ensuring he can get up and down that flank.
It does sort of bring to sort of question why Klopp didn't start him in that first leg of the Nou Camp and played an unfit Joe Gomez, which I know with the benefit of hindsight they've gone through, so all is well. But this performance demanded, inclusion week in, week out. I just don't get that Gomez inclusion in the first leg.
Yeah, he certainly asked a lot more questions of Jordi Alba down that right-hand side, the little Spaniard not having the freedom of Anfield like he had the freedom of the camp now. Now, Divock Origi arguably had the hardest role in terms of filling in as a peripheral player, because Bobby Firmino, we know how expertly he stitches that forward triumvirate together, don't we? He plays that withdrawn role. He often creates space for Mane and for Salah to run into. Salah, more often than not, playing as the last man. On the right-hand side, Shaqiri actually playing a little bit more withdrawn, allowing Origi and Mane to be the last man. I thought that was a really smart move, smart play from Jurgen Klopp. But he scored his first Champions League goals, Divock Origi, becoming the 50th player for Liverpool to score in the competition. So a couple of personal accolades for him in this game, and he absolutely ran his socks off, didn't he? Wijnaldum scoring 2 in 120 seconds, the first Liverpool player to score 2 from the bench in the UCL game since Ryan Babel versus Besiktas in 2007, which is, of course, the sort of stats that we absolutely live for on this show. Just everything went right for them, didn't it, Dougal?
100%. Yeah, I thought Liverpool were just carried by that Anfield crowd after they got that early goal. Gini's impact was fantastic. But questions have to be asked of Barcelona. They've now been eliminated in 3 of their past 4 Champions League semi-final ties. It was particularly ugly for Valverde as he suffered his side's heaviest ever defeat against an English side. And with Max Allegri rumoured to be leaving Juventus, that's looking to be confirmed in the next couple of days, although that hasn't been confirmed yet. Perhaps Valverde's job will come under pressure. I mean, obviously, he is in the running for 2 consecutive doubles, but their performance in the league this year hasn't been nearly as promising as last year. And another demoralising defeat in a Champions League quarter-final. I mean, Chris, if you were the Barcelona hierarchy, would you be looking to move Valverde on?
Maybe not for Allegri, because I think he's probably the antithesis to what the Barcelona fans want. I think Valverde's philosophy is probably closer to Allegri than the Barcelona faithful will be comfortable with. Slightly more pragmatic. As soon as they go ahead, he kind of sacrifices attack for defence. The defence were woeful at the start of the season, weren't they? But they've got gradually better, but they've got gradually more boring at the by the same token. So he has kind of sacrificed forward play and just relied on Messi to put up stupid numbers. If I'm Barcelona, you know what would be really fun if Allegri did go to PSG and then PSG, well, ultimately, if they sack Tuchel goes to Barcelona.
Ooh, the merry-go-round continues. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think it'd be harsh to sack Valverde, but there's certainly lots of questions, particularly on my Twitter feed. I mean, the links with Valverde and Rakitic, everyone hammering Rakitic. Busquets is now looking pretty past it, to be honest, in this game. Jordi Alba didn't have his best game. Piqué as well. Too over-reliant on Messi, which we come back to again in this game.
I thought that's where Barcelona really struggled with the runners from midfield. And you kind of thought, oh God, is Busquets done as a physical specimen in the Champions League against high-octane sides? Because Jordan Henderson kept arriving late, and they just could not deal
what a game
with
he
Hendo.
had as well. Honestly,
Bloody
stepped up on
love
the
that
biggest
9
stage.
minutes from
Unbelievable.
Hendo.
But yeah, so over-reliant on Messi. He either attempted or created every shot they had on the night. I think that was 5 shots and 3 key passes. Of Barcelona's 26 goals in the Champions League, he's been involved in 15 this season. And despite completing a game-high 4 dribbles, he was handled much better in this game. In the first leg, he completed 9 and was only dispossessed twice. In this game, he was dispossessed 5 times. Suarez also didn't have his best game, fair to say, on his return to Anfield. Sort of comeuppance for celebrating against his former club at the Nou Camp, some would argue. This season, he's actually struggled badly in the Champions League. Only 1 goal in the competition, 0 chances created on the night, 0 dribbles completed as well. Who will win the Champions League final? I would argue that Liverpool are heavy favourites, but this Champions League, this year, you just cannot predict a single thing. Chris, if you had to put your money on someone, who would you say?
Oh God, all my predictions have been wrong so far. I thought that the Liverpool game might play out to a sort of 1-1 draw. I thought that Ajax would go through last night, so I'm sort of beyond guessing at this point. And I mean, Liverpool are favourites, but the powers of Pochettino, how are you getting to a Champions League final with this squad? Yeah, I think as long as the football continues to be as entertaining as it has been, then we're all winners, unless you're actually a supporter of Liverpool or Spurs. But the great thing is one of the narratives will end, as Patrick put so articulately on Twitter, of Klopp being a perennial bottler and, Pochettino never having won a trophy. So they have to pedal that next year, do we?
Exactly. Fair play. I would say Liverpool for the win, but I think it's going to be a really tight game. I cannot wait. On the 1st of June, but we want to know from you guys, who do you think will win in that final? Please vote in the poll above.
Right, let's go straight into the end board, Duke.
Yes.
So what else is on Football Daily and Euro Football Daily and FDFC that people can watch now?
Yeah, so Hot Takes is going live today on Football Daily, so go over and check that out. On FDFC, even Squad Goals went live a couple of days ago. I think there's a 7s coming out quite soon. Stay on Euro Football Daily as well and watch all the Stat Wars, the leagues and Stat Wars, the champions, because the competition is hotting up.
You heard the man and he's in his shirt, so do what he says. Bye.
I'm the boss.